Thank you, Scott. Please. And with that, let the game begin.
There's the handshake. There's the start on the clock. And we have the first move on the chessboard. It's going to be 1d4 today for round number 6. Plenty to discuss as we get into the meat and potatoes of today's World Championship game. I leave you all in the capable hands of Grandmasters Robert Hess and Peter Lecco.
Thank you so much, John. And Peter, I was going to ask the question, but Ding answered it before the words could leave my mouth. Will we see a London system? Because that's what Ding trotted out in Game 6 of his match against Jan Nepomniachtchi, a game he won to tie that match. He's already tied heading into Game 6 here with the white pieces. So, Peter, are you surprised that history repeated itself a little bit here?
Well, in this regard, yes. Yeah, that exactly E6, C5 system. It's a very solid system, very reliable one. I think Gukesh has also played against Firouzja in the candidates.
Well, the jacket's coming off, Peter. We're in for a fight. And there is a big difference. The game I mentioned from the previous World Championship is Jan Nepomniachtchi's bishop did not sit behind the e6 pawn. In that game, he played an early c5, is very safe and sturdy in the center.
Yes, white is very solid and safe. On the other hand, black also has no real problems, yeah, and in the last 5-6 years had tremendous development. And bishop b5 check, there is the first check in the game.
Yeah, the first check, and I think we have to check our opening lines here because the check comes out in some position, just capture without first being provoked, being attacked, but here Ding is trying to take over some of the dark squares and saying that the knight on b1 that sits there for now, later in the game it could be more valuable than that bishop on c8.
Yes, white is playing for the structure, and we see the move queen a4 blitzed out as well. Obviously white is trying some ideas like queen back to a3, pinning that pawn on c5 and the queen on d6. Aggressive. Yeah, that was kind of the message from the exchange French. Yeah, that's the only thing we can understand. And at the same time, you absolutely correctly highlighted that so far things have worked more in the way of Ding. But these matches are so long and I'm loving the white king is still stuck in the center. There we go, knight takes e4.
And Peter, this is going to test Gukesh right away because now after queen takes c5, white will temporarily be up a pawn, but it seems Gukesh knows what he's doing. He will swing his his queen over to g6 to immediately apply pressure.
I believe that there had been some high-level games here. Knight d2 blitzed out. Yeah, white sacrificed the pawn on g2 in order to be able to castle long. Yeah, that king needs to evacuate from the center, and then we're gonna see a very double-edged pawn structure. Variation, I'm somehow recalling it. It's a very sharp battle, especially
of this position, and it looks like right now Gukesh first took on g2. White immediately castles, and it's exactly what you said, Peter. The g2 pawn's captured. The g file is open. When you lose a pawn, you open a file for a rook. This could be
match against Jan Nepomniachtchi. It's obvious that this is a very dangerous combo. Rapport and Ding. Queen takes f2 has been taken. The players are blitzing things out. One has the feeling that it's not even a classical game yet. It's a rapid. The players are playing so fast.
And I was mentioning that game of Sevian and So, and in that clash, the g2 pawn was not captured. Instead, Wesley played a more positional approach.
Yeah, for sure. I also, yeah, and there we go. He takes d takes e5. You mentioned the move d takes e5. And it's a very interesting move because it isolates the pawn on e4.
It started off as what might have been a peaceful beginning, but here we are. The action is heating up. So, John, as we take you in and bring you back.
The knight with bishop takes e4. It had to be played. Queen takes c4 on the board, and now is the big question: how is Gukesh gonna handle the position?
And Peter, oftentimes when someone spends a lot of time, they then follow it up quickly. But
G5 on the board. I think you hit perfectly the nail there in the endgame that the queen's on the board, I will always have counterplay. But and look at this queen d5.
happen so long as a black queen is there. And we saw queen e7 just played by Gukesh. He kind of screwed the queen into e7 as he dragged it back. And now...
Yes, he is. Yeah, and it's on the board queen d5. And now Gukesh, if he plays... he plays on queen h4. Wow. What a surprise. A shocking decision made so quickly. The move queen c5 hitting the pawn and queen g3 on the board. Okay, it's the more professional move. However, a more passive move. Yeah, that's why I'm not liking the move queen g3 so much. We can passive decision going out from the repetition. And ever since Ding is in his comfort zone, he's exactly after queen e1 check. He can still play rook d1 and then think again. And moves with queen b5, queen e2, queen f3. King c2 played by Ding, allowing the trade on f4. I can't believe what we are seeing here.
This might be a test. This is a huge moment where Ding plays king to c2, and it was something I was actually...
That's kind of the best setup, and he trades the queens.
And the immediate reply, of course, is to capture back. And with Gukesh about to dip to 10 minutes, that was the 35th move played by Ding. So that means that Gukesh, he needs to play 6 moves in 10 minutes. So we see I think he made a different move over there. Wait, he played e3. That was a move that we both were suggesting could backfire.
Yes.
They need to get to move 40. And rook e2, a quick reply. Which square does the black rook go to? It looks like he's already chosen the e7 square. And now, Peter, you're right. King d3, rook d8. Oh, question mark given to rook e7. That feels harsh. If we can, I'm just going to go a half step back and look what the better move was. It says rook f6? It wants some...
left to move that rook from f4 by taking the h4 pawn. How many tempis do you give? You can't afford that.
It looks like king d3, rook e8 on the board. So that is the 38th move. Give it an exclamation point, but it was the only move here. I think that's generous, but it's indicating this rook would be free to move. And he played a pawn push that I wasn't expecting. I was so focused on the queen side. He plays h5 here.
Yes. Well, it's certainly a move I did not see coming. Is this... Yeah. And g takes h5. Wow. So he wants to push h4, h3, h2, because rook takes h2 is always met by e2.
30th turn, he gets 30 minutes. He has played h4. The evaluation has not changed. He's just making sure, and that's something that the players are definitely going to make sure that they hit that 40th move. He's kicking his legs. There's been a nervous stretch to even reach the time control. And Ding, on the other hand, he's just...
The overall picture that actually it's...
Many decisions made by Gukesh that I wouldn't dream of playing, but these are the types of moves that have helped him become the star he is today. And rook g2 check, okay, king h8, it has the blue arrow. It's the only move that is acceptable here. If you go up to h6, you get immediately checkmated. There was rook f6 and rook to g5. And we might just see an immediate draw here because king g7, rook g2 check. We might get a repetition of moves. So a really well-played game. Risks have been taken, but Peter, this might be the time where the game is coming to a natural conclusion.
Yes, I was immediately very impressed by king g7. And then when I also saw that how Gukesh is standing up and walking behind his chair, it was obvious for me. Yeah, you do this when you feel like, everything is under control now. And king g7 on the board. Ding has also kind of anticipated the move king g7, otherwise you don't blitz out rook g2, but please... But forget about all this. Rook g2 check has been played, king h8, rook e2. It's gonna be 3-4 repetition. What a game it was.
Wow, so many twists and turns. One declined repetition, but here it looks like it's being accepted. Ding just looking at his fingers. There we go. The handshake is in. The game is drawn. 6 games officially in the books at the FIDE World Championship in Singapore in the year 2024. But Peter, nothing separates these two heading into the second rest day.
Wow, what a game it has been. What a dramatic game it has been. What a draw it has been. Wow, I'm so happy that Gukesh was finally rewarded and not punished. Okay, fantastic stuff.
And John, we see the players resetting the board here, and as Peter said, Gukesh rewarded, but the reward is the same as it would have been if he decided to make a draw hours ago.
You know what, though? I have a feeling we'll be talking about the psychological impact of today's game for quite some time. Yes, Gukesh could have agreed to make a draw a very long time ago. He went out of his way not to do that and continued fighting on. Peter, even if the result is the same, that in itself speaks volumes.
Absolutely. Yeah, the chess world loves it. This is why we are also so thrilled. Yeah, imagine that the repetition would have taken place 2 hours ago. Then we say, yes, okay, missed opportunity by Ding.